Hey Neville, welcome to another episode of Rey and Nev.
Yeah.
How you doing, brother?
I'm good. Excited about this episode.
It's been a couple weeks, man.
Yeah.
My question to you is, how's your week been?
Great. One of the best weeks of 2021, honestly.
You want to elaborate on that? What's going on?
I'll do the entire month, I guess. This month I have currently 2 pending, an offer out, another offer coming in. I think we actually received that one already. We just have to review it. And just got off the phone with a seller that wants to sell and buy a bigger home.
Oh, buy a bigger home.
Yeah.
Awesome. And they were sellers that you worked with in the past, or?
Yeah, they bought their house with me back in 2019.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
they're actually having a baby. First kid.
You had a busy week then.
Yeah.
Busy week. That's awesome. That's exciting. Well, real estate is crazy.
Yeah. How's your week been?
Kind of crazy too, as you know. I have a tremendous week. The office has 42 closing pendings in the pipeline.
Oh wow!
So that's including yours and stuff, and that's great. We have 3 new agents that started this month so far, and the month is just starting. It's only the second week of the month. And for me personally, my team has about 8 pendings that are supposed to close this month. So, fingers crossed, hope everything closes. The biggest month of the year for us so far. Hoping to get more into the pipe for next month. So we're working on that.
Awesome.
It's great.
So it's definitely been a big build up into what's happening.
Yeah,
right
well,
now.
keep in mind, February was not as big as I wanted it to be for us. So the fact that we bounced so quickly and we doubled the numbers from February to March, so that's great. So
yeah, that's definitely great. So let's just jump right into
so today's episode. What's the first question? Go ahead.
Just let me know a little bit, like, what is La Rosa? Like, what's our core?
So La Rosa was started in 2004. The core values of La Rosa was, at the beginning, was the next generation of real estate was the motto and the mission behind what La Rosa was to become. And then closer to about 2013, we did a rebranding and we became La Rosa. We had a new logo and everything, and the logo represents family, passion, and growth, which is our new motto and our new mission. And it stands for, what those 3 things mean. Family, where we treat each other like family, and we're always there for each other like family. Keep in mind, we argue like family too.
Yeah.
But we have passion, and we have to grow together, because if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest things is we look at how can we help our agents grow, and that's literally the gist of La Rosa Orlando.
Okay. So I know everybody kind of hears La Rosa Orlando 100%. Like you take it home 100% of your check. What does that really mean?
That's awesome, because it actually means that. It means you take 100% of your check home. When you work you have what we call traditional brokerages, and you have what we call ourselves, which is agent-centric brokerages. And an agent-centric brokerage is centered around the agent. Why should we keep your money when it's your money? You're out there, you're busting your butt, you're working on to make the deal happen, and here it is. We'll just take a cut just because we're pretty brokers. I don't know what reason is it, but we are what we are. We are 100%. And when you get your check, you notice that your check is actually for 100%. We have no hidden fees.
Yeah.
We have no monthly fees that are included into the commission. We do have a transaction fee, just like every other brokerage in town, but that's usually paid by your client.
Yeah.
And when you get your check, if your check was for $9,000, you're going to get a check for $9,000.
Yeah. So what does 100% mean here in Orlando, La Rosa Orlando?
Well, it means more than just 100%, because a lot of people don't realize that a lot goes into becoming a real estate agent. A lot goes into building a brand for themselves, for yourself, and for the agency as well. So La Rosa Orlando doesn't see 100% as just, hey, here's a check for 100% of your commission. La Rosa Orlando really cares about the passion, the growth of each and every individual at the office. And we sit down with every agent. We do a blueprint every year. We do a vision board every year. And we look at what your goals and dreams are, and we try to help you achieve those. We have a ton of tools. So we have all those tools that other brokerages have. But in addition to that, one of the tools that we have here is we also have a calling system that allows the agents, if they want to make phone calls, they can make phone calls. Any other tool out there that we can provide to give the agent the efficiency that they need to go out there and succeed on what they want to succeed, we have it here at La Rosa Orlando.
That's what it means. That's what 100% means to you.
Yeah.
And I definitely agree with it. And it kind of sounds like more or less 100% means that if you're willing to give your 100%, so is La Rosa Orlando.
Yeah,
We're willing to.
That's a good way to put it.
Encourage you to really be able to get to your fullest potential.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's great because one of the biggest things about what I see year to year is the growth of different individuals, different team members, where they started off really slow and then something just triggers within their business or within their mindset, and I see them grow, exponentially year over year, and I'm like so proud of that. Like I see people go from doing 3 transactions a year, and then the next year they do 20, and then that's the explosive spurt that they needed to become a top producer year in and year out after that. So I've seen that happen with multiple agents within the office, and I love seeing it every year. Every year I go in looking forward to see who's my next explosive agent, who's going to explode this year, because there's so many potential agents that I see that I'm like, man, he's got potential, she's got major potential. And my goal every year is to try to trigger them, to make sure that they go and dig into their potential so they can become better. Yeah. So, because like I said, they have to grow. You have to grow every year.
Yep, definitely. Growth is the most important thing in this business, really, because there's a lot of stagnant agents that we all come across. And
very inexperienced, don't have training. And that's another thing too, training. We're big on that. We train every week. Every week we have training. And we don't train on just the simple, easy stuff, which is the stuff that you can get training through our other third-party companies as well. We actually train on how to run this business, how to prospect, how to get the lead. Not feed you the lead, but get you the lead, help you get the lead yourself, so that way you know how to do it.
That actually reminds me of one of the first trainings I came here for. That it was a training that you weren't teaching. It was you had a tax preparer come.
Yeah.
And it taught us how to like have our business set up as an LLC or a C Corp and things like that. And it was terms I never heard before. I'm like, okay, this is part of the business I was unaware of.
Correct.
Definitely, definitely is training the full package.
So we look at every single aspect of the business and what you need to make sure that you're not only growing, but when you get to a certain level in your career, that you know how to, cut up, take the tax out. Make sure that you're filing the right taxes. Make sure you have your expenses written down the way that they need to be written down, so that when you send it to the IRS, there's no issues. So I remember that class. That was an important class, and we need to do that one more.
Yeah, we need to have him back. I can't remember what his name is right now.
Yeah, Juan Pardo.
Yeah, yep, that's exactly who it was. Yeah, he gave me a PowerPoint. I still have it.
He's awesome too, because he focuses on real estate agents.
Yep, so. Exactly. What makes La Rosa different from other companies?
One of the biggest things that I think makes us different, especially what I can say in myself, is that we care. If I'm a broker and I'm running a company that has 100 agents, and the 100 agents, 20 of them are closing 30 transactions between those 20 a month, and I'm making 30% of their commission, I'm living pretty. I'm living pretty large, and I don't have to care, because at that point in time, whether I do anything for them or not, they're still closing the 30 transactions, and I'm still making 30% off. But at La Rosa, because we are 100%, our goal is to create top producers and build their businesses and build them to the potential that they can be. Because the only difference between La Rosa and you moving to the next level would be opening up your own business, being your own broker, but then you take on the liability that La Rosa is already absorbing for you. So that's always a plus. I have many broker associates that work here at La Rosa Orlando because of the fact that they didn't want the liability. But they want the 100%. So.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's one of the biggest things that makes us different, that we care.
That's awesome. That's definitely awesome. So, what about you? Why are you here?
So in 2011 actually, I ran into 3 La Rosa agents. The first La Rosa agent I did a deal with, it was kind of funny. They gave us checks, and the brokerage I was at the time, we had to give him the check, and then he would cut us a check like a week later, 2 weeks later, once the check cleared and all that. But I got the wrong check, so when I opened up the envelope, it was actually the other realtor's check, and the check was in her name. So, and the check was pretty large. Like, I'm like, wait, they made a mistake. They gave her the broker's check. So I kind of invited her to lunch, and I said, hey, would you like, and I still remember her name to this day, Susie Kornick. And I said, Susie, what are you doing right now? Nothing. Oh, would you like to go to lunch? She was like, sure. We go to lunch, and I talked to her, tell me about this La Rosa thing, because here's your check, by the way. It was accidentally given to me. But I opened it. I hope you don't mind. I noticed that you got 100%. Because I knew the commission was on the Alta statement.
You know what commission you were paying out.
Yeah, I knew exactly what I was, what I was getting and what the broker was getting on my end. So it wasn't even near as close to what she was getting. And me and her did the same amount of work. So I was really curious about that. So I asked her, I said, is this 100% thing true? And she said, yeah, man, this is amazing, great company. I've been with them since 2004 when they first started. She was like agent number 2.
Oh, wow.
When I joined the company in 2012, which actually took 3 people. I met with 3 people in order to do that. I met with her, didn't make any moves because I went to my broker. My broker told me 100% of nothing is nothing, scared the crap out of me because he was feeding me leads, which is another way to say, hey, I'm a slave to the game. At that point, I'm literally, I'm letting them feed me, and that's not the way you want to do this business. So that stopped me. But then I ran into another guy. I was talking to my client. I was at lunch, and we were talking about how I was doing in real estate. I was like, oh, I'm doing great. I'm closing about 5 deals. What's your cut at the end of the day? Because he was thinking about getting into real estate. And I told him I split. When I told him that, there was a guy at the table across from me, and he was from La Rosa. And he's like, dude, you need to come see me.
Yeah.
And he was one of the recruiters at La Rosa at the time. And his name was Jose Cruz. And he was like, no, you need to sit down with me because you're missing out on a major opportunity. You're doing big numbers. And I said, okay, well, I'll meet with you. And then I met with him. I met with Joe, and still didn't sign up. It wasn't until about later that year I decided to take a trip to New York. And when I took a trip to New York, I came back determined that I was going to make the move. And it was crazy because right after I did that, I read a book called Entre Leadership, and it talked about how the more knowledge you get, the more visible you are. And the more knowledge I got in real estate, the more visible I was, in the sense that I was starting to see things that I didn't see in the past or from before. And that's when I decided, look, I gotta make the move. So I called Joe that morning when I got back, and I said, Joe, I'm thinking about making the move. He said, whenever you're ready, I'm here. And I try to have like an exit meeting with him because I never want to burn bridges.
Yep, of course.
But he didn't show up. He said, just leave the keys on the counter, and I know where you're going. Have a great life, and unfriended me on Facebook, did all of that drama stuff. But other than that, I think he was a great guy. I think he was a great mentor. He helped me in my career. He helped me learn what not to do and what to do. So coming to La Rosa, what I can say that it does for most agents, and you can probably vouch for this, you get the freedom to run the business the way you want.
Yep.
And that's the best thing I like about being here.
Yep.
So
Definitely the freedom to. I feel like it is the freedom to make the mistakes, but you still have a lot of the support.
Yeah.
After you made the mistakes, and that's really major. And that support was there before you made the mistakes too.
Yeah.
It's always up to the agent to make their own
ask
decision.
for it. Yeah.
And to ask for the help.
Yeah, some mistakes you're gonna make regardless because sometimes you're in the heat of the moment or the spur of the moment, and you have to make a quick decision, especially with today's market. But with that being said, you always have to be ready to see the mistake and get the help as best you can. And I think, like you said, the support that you get here is amazing because I can reach out to Joe. I remember coming over to La Rosa, literally a month in, I got a lawsuit on a Sunday. I was served paperwork for, it was a total of $175,000 per count, and it was about 3 counts within the demand letter, and it was a book this thick. I mean, it was crazy, and they were detailing everything that I had done. And I called Joe on a Sunday. He picked up the phone, so I'll never forget that. And I told him, Joe, man, look, I'm being sued. He starts bawling, like he starts laughing his butt off. And I'm like, what are you laughing, dude? I'm getting sued here. He says, no, you're becoming competition. That's what it is. So don't worry. I'll see you Monday. I'll have my attorneys sit down with us, and we'll see what the next recourse is. We sat down with his attorneys. We ended up in a 5-year battle. We called to the judge and said, Judge, look, man, this guy's like MIA. Can you just, throw this thing out? And finally the judge said, yeah, let's throw it out, because the judge did a final reach out and nothing. But what he was doing, and I totally understand, he thought that I was going to be using the marketing, which I told him I wouldn't, using his marketing to better myself. So he didn't know if I was going to keep my word or not, so that's why he sued me. But at the end of the day, it made me a better man because I wasn't going to use it anyway. I thought it was great marketing, but it was his marketing, it wasn't mine. So I went a totally different angle, and I'm happy that I did, and I'm successful, so I'm not worried about it.
Yep, definitely. I think something you said earlier was that 100% of nothing is nothing.
Yeah.
And that's definitely something that was presented to me when I came to La Rosa as well from my old broker. That was the last thing he said to me, 100% of nothing is nothing. And I was like, yeah, you're right. But I really didn't receive much from him either. So I was just like,
yeah, and
I don't really.
In my case, when I think the one of the straws that broke the camel's back is before I went to New York, and I remember this conversation vaguely. I told him, I said, yeah, but 100% of something is like a lot more than what I'm making right now. And he didn't have a response to that. At that point, I went to New York, had a great time, and I told my wife about 3 days into our vacation, kind of stressed her out. So 3 days into our vacation, I told her, I said, babe, listen, when we get back, I'm going to La Rosa. He's like, oh my Lord, why are we gonna do this? Are you crazy? We're doing well, you know. And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like it's time to make that move. So
yeah.
And then that's what I did.
That's definitely a big move to make.
Yeah.
I know you guys made it though, right?
Yeah, no, super glad. I mean, I lost a lot of money. Plus, I had to deal with the lawsuit, which cost me a lot of money as well. But you know, you grow and you learn from those things. It's not mistakes. It's just stepping stones that you take to better your career sometimes.
Okay. You know? And this last question I have for you, and this is something I'm going to answer as well. But is this what you expected La Rosa Realty to be, or what you expected it to grow into?
I'll follow it up with this comment. If you ask me, would I do it again the same way that I did? I still would. Meaning I would still have gone to that brokerage and then come here, because I learned so much valuable information there, in the sense that he wasn't a broker that was hands-on, but he was a broker that provided the business for me to learn from. Because he wasn't hands-on, he made it really very, very easy. And for you brokers out there that are 70-30, remember this. You make it very easy for your agents to become self-dependent. And that's what he did for me. Because of the fact that he wasn't there for me during the deals, I literally had to learn my way through, making sure that I negotiated the deal right, that whenever a problem came up, I knew how to diffuse the problem or take care of the problem or resolve the problem. So because of the fact that when I would go to him, and this was his famous saying to me, he would say, what would you do? And my thing to him was, if I knew, I wouldn't be asking you. But it made me stronger, because it made me realize that he was really just teaching me how to become self-dependent. Maybe he believed in me, I don't know. But I think the biggest thing about that was that I learned how to become self-sufficient, that when I came to La Rosa, and it wasn't, I'll tell you like this, it wasn't an easy ride. Because when you're getting leads, which that's why I call it the worst thing you can do in life is get leads. Coming to La Rosa made it really hard for me to learn how to get the leads myself.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest hurt that I had, the biggest stepping stone that I had coming to La Rosa and moving forward, because it was a hard 6 months for me.
Yeah.
But I came over in July. By December of that same year of 2011, we had done I had done 6 million in sales with my team. We were only shooting for 4 million to finish the year.
Oh, wow.
So the goal was 4. We hit 6. We didn't stop. We kept, we hit the ground running, and every opportunity that came, we capitalized on.
Yeah.
And that's what I see. But answering the question, I would, if I did it all over again, I did not expect to grow as I did at La Rosa as quick as I did as well.
Definitely.
What about you? Answer the question. Did you expect La Rosa to be what people told you it was, or what you thought it was going to be?
So, I sat down with Carlos Bonilla.
Yeah.
Over in Longwood. Great guy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. He definitely sold me on it.
My question is, could you hear him?
He talks so low, right?
Yeah.
But you have to listen. You have to listen because of that.
Absolutely.
But he great guy. Definitely sold me on it. But I just didn't understand. I'm like, how are you surviving at 100%? And so I made a deal with myself. 90 days.
Is that like a rule for you? Because everything you do is 90 days.
Yes. If within
Let me ask you a
90
question
days,
for the ladies. You know he's single. For the ladies out there, is that a rule for the ladies too? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm putting you on the spot.
That's some information that I will not disclose.
No, we're not disclosing that today? Okay.
No, we're not going to disclose
ladies,
that.
I'll get that
Not
for you
today,
in
not
another
today.
episode. But go ahead.
But yeah, 90 days is a rule for me where it's like I'm going to give something a try for 90 days. And it's not that I do it with the expectation that I'm going to blow up in 90 days. Or even I need to see results in 90 days. I need to feel comfortable with my decision in 90 days.
Gotcha.
If in 90 days I'm still doubting my decision, that's a long time to be doubting yourself. You know,
yeah.
I need to move on. And I was like, okay, if this doesn't seem right, if it doesn't feel right, if it's not moving in the right direction that I wanted to go in, then I'm obviously moving on to somewhere else. I want to say within my first 30 days, I was probably, I had 2 transactions that were going. And I was like, wow, what's happening? I couldn't even tell you what I did different.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't what I expected it to be in the standpoint where I didn't expect so much interaction from other agents. I was coming from a brokerage where it was more of a boutique brokerage. A lot of the agents were in the business for over 15 years. They would give me advice. There were some great agents that would give me advice, but it was just like a nugget of it.
Yeah.
And then do as you want with that, you know?
Yeah.
So something really awesome that I did here and that was given to me here was that success plan, the agent success plan.
Yeah. The blueprint.
Found the blueprint. Went to foundations and I was like, what the hell is this? This is amazing. It drew a whole roadmap for me. And then on top of that, I'm gonna give more credit to Carlos. Definitely, I have to give him credit for this listing.
Yeah.
I had my first listing appointment just following the blueprint. I locked out my first listing appointment, and I remember sitting in that office and I'm like, hold on, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what do I do now? And I went to Carlos and I was like, no, I called him, and I was like, hey, can I set up a meeting for you? 'Cause I have a listing, I don't know what to do. And he was like, yeah, just come in tomorrow morning. And I went in the next day, and I went in kind of like not even knowing what to expect. And he was like, here, this is a link to a video, watch this video, and then come ask me any questions. And I was like, he just brushed me off.
Yeah.
Like in my head, I'm like, this man just brushed me off. I'm like, let me go watch this video. What's the worst he could do?
Yeah.
Put up the video. I'm like, this is an hour-long video. What the heck?
Yeah.
So I watched it, and it was another La Rosa broker. I don't know if he was a broker at the time. He's a broker now.
Tom Stewart.
Exactly who it was, Tom Stewart.
He was a broker at the time.
He was teaching a video about listing presentations, and I watched it.
He was very detailed.
It's an hour video, and super detailed. And I'm like, and even still thinking Carlos brushed me off. Maybe 55 minutes into the video, Carlos like comes into the room. He's like, was the video helpful? And I looked at him, I'm like, yeah, it was. Yeah. He's like, do you have any questions for me? And I was like, actually, no.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Carlos could have easily sat down with me for an hour and taught me all of this, right? Yeah. But then I would have had to write every single note down, really as a one-take thing.
Correct.
He gave me the access to that resource, and I was able to watch it as many times as I needed. I ended up watching that 3 times before I went to the listing presentation, and I did the listing presentation.
It's a great class. I've taken that class. I've actually seen that presentation when it was being recorded. I was in the classroom for that.
So it was great. I did it verbatim like he did it, and I left with that listing presentation. And the funny thing about it was, I left with that listing presentation $6,000 overpriced.
Wow.
But in the presentation, he also gave you how to beat that objection.
Correct.
And I set expectations.
Correct.
That in 2 weeks, if we don't get any offer, we need to reduce the price to where it needs to be. $6,000 overpriced, and set the expectation 2 weeks. We lowered it to where it needed to be, and we put her in the contract that week.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
an awesome story.
Amazing.
It's crazy. Let me tell you something about that video. So when Tom was recording that, there had to be, because we recorded this at the celebration office. It had to be, I probably can count maybe 50 people in the room, and not a head was down. Everybody was like all plastered for the full hour on what Tom was saying, because it was such great information. He pretty much laid out a great presentation, and he even talked about, I don't know if he caught, where creating a relationship with the client, because eventually the clients become family. You know, and that's one of the biggest things. So I'll tell you from my experience, that video taught me a lot too, because I came over to La Rosa. I had been in La Rosa for about 6 months. We were doing our thing because we knew a little bit of what to do. But that video took our listing presentation to another level. So, you know.
But it definitely, that moment right there set an expectation where it's like, not even set an expectation, it definitely like gave me a confirmation of like, you know what, I'm not even 90 days in and I'm giving up on that rule. Like, I stopped thinking about it.
At that point, you were good.
Yeah, I started like, and that's what really, that training video is what sold me on the rest of the training. Because after that, I went to Do It Now.
Yeah.
Completed foundations.
That's one we haven't even touched on. I mean, Do It Now. I mean,
Joe, you need to bring that back, man.
Yeah, Joe, what's up, man? We need that.
We need to do it the way we were doing it before COVID.
It has to be in person because so I went to the original Do It Now. When I came to the company, I was agent number 258. Where, you know, we're what, almost 3,000 strong now. Mm-hmm. So it was crazy because when I went to the class, so I was this really hot shot listing agent. I listed a ton of properties. And Joe calls me up. I'll never forget. Joe, I'm going to put this out there because you're wrong for this. But, so he calls me up, right? Now, I don't know anything about celebration, but I'm bullshitting my way through it. So I'm like, listen. So he tells me, what's the difference between the East and the West? And I said, well, you know, the East has nicer houses. He says, you see how Ray's telling me? He's looking to the left, down to the left. So I never look down to the left anymore because of that. That right there actually pushed me to another level because it was like, okay, you need to know your neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And I found out. I finally, right after that class, I decided to go drive and find out. And what I found out was you didn't want to be on the east side unless you were in a particular neighborhood, because the east side connects to the back of the highway. Mm-hmm. So you were hearing the highway traffic day in and day out. Yep. And it's horrible because at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, when you're trying to have calm dinner coming home, it was just horrible. So the houses on the east side, closer to the highway, were $200,000 cheaper than those on the west side that didn't have.
That's something you didn't know, but you were like,
didn't know.
I'm gonna try to answer this question.
Figure it out. Yeah. Well, I couldn't answer the question. I kind of, like I said, I bullshitted my way through it. So, but yeah, he has showed me that, you know, if you care about people and you build a company that reflects that, you can grow a company from zero to where we are now. Because when I met with him, that's what he said to me. He says, how can I help you? Yeah. Like, you don't even know me, you know? Yeah. So that was literally how the interview started. How can I help you in your career? Yep. What can I do for you?
And that might have been a question that Carlos asked me as well. And that might have been something where it was like, I haven't been asked that before. Yeah, yeah. But to answer the question, this was not what I expected it to be. This has been so much better than what I expected it to be. It definitely brings me back to something you said in the beginning of this episode, where like knowledge will get you noticed. Yep. It definitely, the more knowledge that I obtain, the more, I want to say more notice. It's just, I feel so much more comfortable.
Yeah. And people can start to know who you are. Yeah. People start to know you. I got a question for you now, though. What? All right, because, you know, we talk good about La Rosa. I have a question that's really going to put us out there. Because, see, the one thing is I'm not afraid to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. What do you think is the biggest flaw La Rosa has?
The biggest flaw that La Rosa has? That's a tough question. I feel like this is a trick. This is a trap. I don't like this. The biggest flaw that La Rosa has is, back in the day, the corporate office, you know, you had to go get your check from there.
Oh, yeah, I remember those days.
Freaking celebration, and you know, I lived in a Popka at the time, so I would say that was a major.
But we had table funding, so from day one.
We did, but I mean, if you didn't get it done,
because you were lazy, got it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, some new builders, you know, don't really.
Yeah, they don't cut. They don't cut. Yeah.
You gotta go get it from, or you gotta wait for the mail it over.
Mail it to you. Yeah.
Biggest flaw at La Rosa, I'm not sure. How about you answer first, and then.
All right, give you and maybe spark an idea in your head. Okay, my biggest thing about La Rosa, the biggest flaw we have, is we don't market ourselves the way we should. I don't think that people realize how successful you could be within this company, and how noticeable you will be within this company. Not just at La Rosa, to the La Rosa agents, but to real estate in general. A lot of people have written us off. as the 100% company, that's all we offer, 100%, and because we don't market ourselves to let the world know who we are, what we are, and what we do on a daily basis. Because there's some top producers at La Rosa that will slap the heck out of any top producer at any other company, and there's people that have amazing knowledge here. And one of the biggest things that we don't advertise enough, if I've already made it clear that our marketing sucks in regards to that, is that we have a training program. So our agents don't just come here and sit around doing nothing. If our agents want to produce and become bona fide real estate agents, we have a training program for them. And we do all of this with still allowing them to, produce their business at 100%. So I think that's our biggest flaw. Our biggest flaw is that we don't tell people. I mean, just us doing this video, people are going to find out so much more about La Rosa that they didn't know, because we don't publish it.
I definitely agree. I definitely agree with you with that one. Like, we don't push it, and I feel like that's something that other companies, you speak to an agent at so and so XYZ company, they go full recruit mode.
Yeah.
But then you talk to a La Rosa agent, and we're just so comfortable. It's just like, yeah, we're happy. We're
good.
We're not like drilling for another agent to come to the company.
Correct.
Like, there's been a million agents that I just invite over. Like, yeah, we're doing a training class. We're doing a class, or we just sit down and meet and we talk about everything. And they come over, and it's really just that effortless. Once they come here, they just kind of realize like, oh wow, this is different.
The culture, that's definitely huge.
And it's definitely major. Well, earlier this week we had an agent from, I'm not going to say what company they're from. It's 2 letters. That definitely sound like a cereal brand, like Kellogg type thing. But we had an agent from there actually that came into our training.
Yeah, we
just invited him, and he just came. He felt comfortable.
Yeah, they feel like part of the family. Like they come here and they feel like part of the family.
Yeah.
So awesome episode, Nev. Thank you for asking me some crazy questions and some really good ones. And I knew I had to get you with that.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
So I want to thank everybody for watching, and hope to see you next week. Have a great day.
Yeah. Thank you guys for coming in. Bye.